Look at me, I'm glittery.
8. Alright. You immediately respond by swinging your blade and cutting him in half.
Oops.
Damn.
Well, that's what you get for wearing leather against a divine blade.
The force of your killing blow sends the top half of the Drakkar reeling backwards across the deck. He collides with another sailor who was coming to his aid and knocks him headlong into the sea.
Oh God. Well, I sort of feel pity for them. Here I come to save your brother. Oh God, you're half my brother.
You brace
Oh,
yourself.
it's his half brother.
Wow, gallows humor, everyone. You brace yourself in case there's another waiting to rush at you, but the smoke from the vessel's funnel is so thick and the other Drakkarim are so preoccupied with hooking the marines out of the water that they fail to notice you're creeping towards the wheelhouse near the middle of the deck. A steel door swings open as you approach and 3 hefty Drakkarim confront you on the threshold. You parry one blade, take the second in the chest, and see the third spin sideways, trailing scarlet sprays from the fatal wound you have dealt him. A quick thrust to the heart puts paid to the remaining sailor. He screams and falls through the doorway, tumbling down an iron staircase that descends into noise-filled darkness. Do you wish to use divination?
Yes.
Sure, why not?
Your Kai sense informs you that the stairs descend to the control cabin and cruise quarter that you then... informs you that the stairs descend to the control cabin and cruise quarters, then onto the cargo section, which houses huge tanks filled with sulfur, used as fuel for the engines of this strange craft. The sudden appearance... What?
Do you think our instincts have been a sailor for the Darklands in a former life?
I don't know, you just know stuff like that. That's why it's called divination. You divine things. The sudden appearance of the sailor's body has started a commotion, and the sound of heavy boots grating on metal warns you that more Drakkarim are ascending the stairs to investigate what or who caused their comrade's death. To attempt to descend the stairs could prove fatal, so hurriedly you slam shut the door and look for another place to hide. Stealthily you move away from the door, raising the hood of your cape to hide your face. Beyond the wheelhouse you see a large tube of steel mounted horizontally on the circular platform. It is attended by 3 Drakkarim who are busily loading a heavy pear-shaped projectile into a chamber at the rear of the tube. A large wooden crate filled with several more projectiles lies open at their feet. Their captain, his rank denoted by the silver braid that decorates his sleeves of his battle jacket, is pointing to the sinking Intrepid and shouts excitedly, "Gas Musa Okrusa! Shada Iginagak!"
Yeah, you are so
What if, Joe?
Do you wish to use path?
You're cute, sir, but I have no clue what you just said.
Do you wish to use pathmanship?
Sure.
Yeah.
You understand enough of the Geark language to know that the enemy captain is preparing to hasten the Intrepid to the bottom of the sea. The metallic tube is the means by which the ironclads launch the fire missiles, one of which you have already encountered when running the blockade out of Toran. This one is loaded and is being aimed directly at the waterline of the Intrepid. At first it strikes you as a wasteful attack. The Intrepid is sinking so fast that to fire upon it now seems to serve no practical purpose. Then you realize what the enemy commander is planning, and the thought of it makes your blood boil. Davin and the remnant of his crews are clinging in desperation to the flotsam that surrounds the ship. Many are wounded, and their pitiful cries for help can clearly be heard aboard the Drakkarim ironclad. The enemy captain watches them through narrowed eyes, an evil sneer spreading slowly across his brutal face. Is it just me as every single part of a Drakkarim body is somehow evil or cruel or brutal or another negative thing? It's like
I don't know, but that guy, he needs to die. Seriously, there must be some kind of integrity even in military engagements.
Explode across his brutal face as he reaches for the mechanism that will launch a fire missile into their midst. Do you wish to use your bow?
Yeah.
Fire.
The captain arches his back and screams in agony as your arrow drives deep into his spine. Immediately 2 Drakkarim gunners rush forward to help him, but as soon as they realize that he's dead, they spin around to confront you. Do you wish to shoot them too? You need 2 arrows for this.
Yes, we shoot
Yeah.
them.
Your first arrow pierces a heart, but your second is deflected by a steel breastplate. Before you have a chance to fire again, the surviving gunner is upon you, his short sword unsheathed and ready to stab at your chest. But since you have hunt mastery, you can quickly switch weaponry. You're now fighting the Drakkarim gunner. Roll the die.
Have it somewhere. There we go. Come on.
Okay. He's upon you in a flash, hitting you while you're surprised from the deflection of your arrow. I managed to get a gash in your side. You lose 3 endurance points. Then you hit him with a powerful blow that makes him cough up blood. Mostly because your sword just penetrated his lung. He's still alive, for now. So, yeah, should probably roll
Not
that die
for
again.
long.
Nope, but long enough to get a hit in, if need be. Give me a roll die.
7.
Right, that would not be the case, however. You finish him off and silence him forever. The deck is shrouded in smoke, but the sound of heavy boots pounding steel plate warns you that the group of Darkar Marines are approaching, drawn by the comrade's dying scream. Acting on instinct, you grab the rear of the cannon and revolve it on its mounting until it points directly along the deck. A dozen angry Marines emerge from the smoke and they face freezing terror when they find themselves staring into the muzzle of their own formidable weapon.
Oops.
Death to the Dark Lords! You cry and pull the firing lever.
Wow.
There's a
Killed
loud
with irony.
There's a loud bang, and a wave of heat rolls over you as the cannon spits its deadly missile at the advancing Darkarim. It bores through their ranks and slams into the wheelhouse with shuddering force. Jets of yellow flame roars from a jagged hole, illuminating the grim remains of what a moment before were enemy Marines. Then the deck jumps up and slaps the soles of your feet. The missile has penetrated the ironclad's magazine. The missile has penetrated the ironclad's magazine!
Yeah.
Oh,
Scheiße.
and he was just getting done reading that.
Not that kind of magazine, my dear.
So we are on a basically iron boat, and we just lit a fire in its very vast arsenal, and we're going to get blown up so badly we're going to resemble the Death Star's destruction. We're getting the fuck out of here.
And in an instant, the vessel is blown apart. The last thing you remember before darkness obliterates your senses is an eye-searing flash of white and scarlet fire.
In other words, Yahoo! This wasn't part of the plan!
But if we just had some more time and money, then maybe we could have done better.
No, God. God damn it. It's not always about time and money, for fuck's sake.
Slowly, as though awakening from a dream, you return to consciousness.
Hey, I'm not dead.
Through half-open eyes, you stare at a darkening sky and feel the cold waves of the Caldesy lapping at your feet. Every inch of your body aches viciously. It is as if your flesh were one vast bruise. But at once you know that your body is intact and that miraculously you have escaped serious injuries. You are lying in a cup-shaped piece of wreckage that was once part of the Ironclad's bow. On the horizon there's now only one ship, the Ironclad that first attacked the Intrepid. It is silhouetted against the wall of oily flames that marks the place where its sister craft exploded. The tide has carried you away from the carnage, and turning your head stiffly you see that the shore lies less than 100 yards away. Do you wish to use Hunt Mastery?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Less than a mile along the rock shore, you catch sight of something moving in the shadows. You use your advanced Kai skill to magnify your vision, and able to see a patrol of Giarks searching the water's edge for survivors of the battle. Some they help, carrying them on stretchers to the encampment perched high on an overhanging cliff. Others, presumably crew from the Intrepid, they stab repeatedly with their spears and leave for the sharks to claim.
Wow.
Well, at least they're nice to their own guys.
Not something.
Forewarned by your skill, you begin to paddle away from the patrol, keen to avoid their chilling welcome. Night has fallen swiftly, but there is a full moon by which to see. It pierces the darkness and bathes the landscape in its ghostly ashen light. The tide bears you swiftly towards a single beach that is littered with huge sea-smoothed boulders. The crashing surf and the screech of predatory seabirds echo all along this barren coastline. It is an unwelcome sound, cold and hostile, a fitting reflection of the land itself. 10 yards from the stony beach, you slip into the thigh-deep foam and wade ashore. Although you can see no sign of enemy patrols, you keep your head low and you scurry up the beach towards the base of a sheer cliff wall. By chance you happen upon a narrow path that clings precariously to the side of the cliff face as it zigzags its way to the top. The climb is long and arduous, and by the time you reach the summit, the weather has taken a turn for the worse. An icy, rain-laden wind whips inland from the sea. Its chilling bite is accompanied by sheet lightning that illuminates the landscape before you. The blue-white flashes reveal a vast dead world of pitted spurs and cracks, where every tree is petrified and every rock looks like a dead man's skull. You pull your cape close about your shoulders and set off towards a ridge that is peppered with dark hollows, hoping that one of them will offer some shelter from the coming storm. Upon reaching the ridge, you discover that most of the hollows are merely patches of dark earth sandwiched between the honeycombed rock. The rain has become torrential, and you're beginning to abandon all hope of finding dry shelter, when suddenly your tracking instinct alerts you to a cave-like opening at the far end of the ridge. You investigate and discover that it is indeed the entrance to a cave, one that is both wind and watertight, and to your relief quite empty. You're now very hungry and must eat. I assume you just find something somewhere.
There's a bug.
Yum. Bug.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Do you wish to use animal control or divination?
For what I think.
Animal control.
Animal control, yes.
Although the cave is empty, you detect the lingering scent of a creature that has slept here in the last 24 hours. If this is the creature's lair, it's like to return to seek shelter from the storm. Do you wish to leave the cave and seek shelter elsewhere, or would you rather stay here and risk meeting its previous occupant?
I don't know. You could ask what we could gain from meeting the former occupant, but to be honest, I'm curious to see what kind of creature lived here, or lives here, if you will.
I'm sort of not. We have to fight. We can't use the sword now.
Very well, we move on, I say.
Okay. The icy cold wind blowing inland of the Kaltasea grows fiercer with every passing hour. Billowing black storm clouds mask the moon and plunge the land into an inky darkness that makes your search for shelter increasingly difficult. Only the steady flash of sheet lightning affords you any assistance. After 3 hours of fruitless search, you resign yourself to spending a cold, wet, and thoroughly miserable night crouching at the bottom of a shallow gully, with your cape pulled tent-like over your head to fend off the relentless rain. Owing to the cold, your fatigue and lack of sleep, your night in the open cost you 4 endurance points.
But cold wouldn't bother us. And we just ate.
Yes, but you lose 4 endurance points. Dawn arrives, its hazy light barely brightening the banks of the grey clouds which swirl above this bleak and desolate land. The rain has ceased, but the cold wind still blows strongly, bringing patches of frost that whiten the stony soil. You check your equipment and take stock of your provisions before setting off towards a distant line of hills. You are aware that the dawn light has increased the chance of you being found by a Giak patrol, should you stay too long in any one place, especially so near the shore. It is nearly noon when finally reach the top of the ridge and stare down at the valley that lies beyond. It is a barren landscape of endless pits and cracks, jagged boulders and scree. A rough, foot-worn track follows a stream that wends its way back to the source deep among the towering range of mountains that dominates Morazan. Using your map and your kite tracking and hunting skills, you conclude that the mountains are the northwest tip of the Duancrag Range. If you can find that.
Let me see.
Ah yes, the Duancrags, the easternmost of the eastern mountains. So yeah.
Oh, we're there. How did we get there?
Well, we were basically blasted off an iron warship, so I'm surprised we're still...
Yeah, but the Duancrag Mountains is nowhere near the sea.
Well, it's that entire mountain range.
Oh.
So that would be...
makes more sense then.
Yeah. So that would be at the northwestern tip. I get that would be up there around Point Vashna, maybe?
So then we can move south to Sarkadat.
Ah, yes, indeed. Because it says here, beyond them must lie the Gulf of Helenak and the Dark Lord naval base of Argasat. A feeling of dread overwhelms you as you realize that more than 300 miles of hostile terrain lies between you and Ornak, the stronghold where you are to rendezvous with the slave master. Suddenly you stare at the forbidding mountains and rack your brains for a solution to your predicament. At length, you formulate a new plan of action. The track and the streams wind their way towards a narrow gap in the Duancrag Range. Fixedly, you stare at this gap. The longer you gaze, the more certain you are that it is a mountain pass, allowing the path to continue through to Argasat.